And now it's time for Insights.
Sam Harris did a presentation at the TED meeting recently in which he explained his concept of moral peaks and valleys. That some things were clearly wrong and some things were clearly not. And that there were many possible ways to be wrong and many possible ways of being right. But there needs to be a distinction between the two. And this was fascinating to me because I'd recently been thinking about various different traditions in history. The Buddhist tradition had the idea of the middle path. I'm sure Harris is familiar with that because of his talks on Buddhism. And Aristotle had his idea of the golden mean. The golden mean was not necessarily the middle between two extremes. The golden mean was actually toward some preferred state. And that made sense to me. You see, with these peaks and valleys that Sam Harris was talking about, if you have this kind of notion, if you had a direct mean directly in the middle of a peak and a valley, you have a completely neutral area, is what the thought would be. But that is not necessarily preferable. That's not the kind of life one would like to have, with equal amounts of horrifying violence and pleasure, for instance. But if you were to look at only the peaks as being what you're striving for, then perhaps the extremes amongst the peaks are what's trying to be avoided in the Aristotelian view. That you would have things only as a virtue when they are not being taken to extreme, which is also something I believe that Aristotle put forth as a notion. And I just thought that was really interesting how Harris's kind of sine wave of good and evil could intersect with Buddhism and Aristotelian logic. And tell me what you think on it.